first instrument of choice? I believe you had piano and trumpet experience before that.
Yeah, I was mainly a trumpet player before I started playing the drums.
What was it?
Yeah, I was in high school, junior high, and all that.
What was it that turned your attention?
The trumpet.
Yeah. And what turned your attention to the drums?
Well, I liked to play rock and roll, and in 1958 there weren't any trumpets in rock and roll music. So I switched to an instrument that I knew you could play rock and roll on.
Simple as that.
The drums. For sure, man.
Who were the first drummers to get your attention?
Oh, I don't know. Just guys around Wichita, Kansas. I wasn't really listening to, that much music. I was, Jimmy Reed's drummer did okay for me. Howlin' Wolf and the guys like that.
Yeah.
Blues drummers.
Tell us about the time leading up to your becoming involved with the Mothers of Invention. What were some of the other bands you were involved with in those very early days?
Well, I did my first single in 1962 with a band called The Keys from Wichita, Kansas. It was a single. Mm-hmm. And then I played with, several bands, mostly R&B bands and a couple of country bands. It really didn't matter to me what it was.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. I just wanted to learn how to play the drums.
You remember the first time you met Frank Zappa and what your first...
I sure do.
Yeah? Can you tell us about that?
Well, he came down to audition for the guitar spot in the band that Roy Estrada and Ray Collins and I had called the Soul Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And he passed the audition. And a month later, he took over the band, and I would have to say the rest is history.
Pretty much so, wasn't it? What were your first impressions of him?
Oh, I thought he was a good player. He was a real good rhythm player. He wasn't. He didn't impress me as a lead player at that time. He was pretty young. Mm-hmm. He wasn't really that much of a lead player. Not like he became later on.
You remember your first gig as the Mothers?
As the Mothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the Broadside in Pomona, California.
Anything stand out about that gig to you?
Oh, no, not really. Just other than the name. Because before we were known as the Soul Giants, and then all of a sudden we were the Mothers.
I believe after the record deal came about, your producer, Tom Wilson, was a bit taken by surprise when he first got you in the studio. It didn't seem to be the band that he first thought that he got.
Well, he heard us play only one song. Heard us play Trouble Coming Every Day. Mm-hmm. And at that time, Henry Vestine from Canned Heat Blues Band was the other guitar player in the Mothers. And so he actually thought he had signed a blues band. Well, needless to say, the first song we recorded was Who Are the Brain Police? And that didn't exactly sound like a rhythm and blues band.
Do you remember Tom's reaction?
Well, he was on the phone immediately to New York, to the main office in New York City, saying, "We didn't sign a blues band. I'm not sure what we signed." Everything, but he got over it.
Yeah, for sure. Of those the albums, We're Only In It For The Money is now looked back on as a landmark album in rock history. Do you remember feeling at the time having a sense that you were creating something out of the ordinary with that album?
Not really. I mean, it was just one of the Mothers, typical Mother stuff. That's what it was to me. I mean, because, we didn't think about any landmark things or anything, although now I do.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's still one of the best-selling albums we ever did.
Which album, personally for you, did you think that the Mothers really peaked as a band?
Would you like to know my favorite album?
Yeah?
That I recorded with them?
Mm-hmm.
Cruising with Reuben and the Jets.
Okay.
That's the one I like to listen to the most. Technically, Uncle Meat was pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And going in a even farther out direction than We're Only In It For The Money was. But absolutely, Friesna is pretty damn good as well. With Brown Shoes Don't Make It and Colony Vegetable.
They're all pretty special, aren't they?
Well, they were all different.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. It was just it was the evolution of the band. I mean, you know, from the beginning to to Weasels Rip My Flesh.
What was it about the Reuben and the Jets album that appealed to you the most?
Well, I just because I like doo-wop music. I really and I thought Ray Collins sang that so well.
He did, didn't he? Great voice.
Yeah, he did, man. That was actually Ray's album.
Yeah.
Frank made an album for Ray to sing, and Ray sang it really good.
Was Frank the perfectionist that we're all led to believe that he was in the studio?
Oh, yes. Yeah? Definitely.
Was it frustrating
all
at times?
The way.
Was it frustrating for you as a musician at times?
Not really, man. I learned a lot from, that, even though I'm older than Frank, but shit, I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
And it was good. I didn't mind rehearsing, as much as we did, and I liked the feeling of being in the best rock and roll band in the world, which is what I thought we were.
How was he in terms of being open to suggestion from the other guys in the band? Were you all free to offer your own ideas in the recording process?
No, we weren't afraid to. They just weren't taken. No, I wasn't afraid to. It's just that he wasn't listening to me.
Right.
He had his own mind made up what he wanted. It was his music.
So did you still felt, though, that you're all part of one band? You didn't feel that sometimes...
Well, we were. I mean, that's what the contract said anyway.
Yeah.
We were all partners.
But it didn't make you feel at times that you were a little bit like hired musicians?
No, not really, because, when it came to starvation time, the hired musicians get paid whether the boss is starving or not.
That's true. Tell us about the 200 Motels movie. What are your memories of that?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. My memories of it is I got a chance to meet and work with Ringo Starr. I'm a big Beatle fan.
Yeah. Oh, aren't we all? That was around the time that the Mothers were dissolving, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had dissolved. I had a band at that time called Geronimo Black.
That's right. Did you see the end coming for the Mothers of Invention? Was it on the cards, or...?
No. It was a total shock to all of us. That was the thing. It was a total shock to us. He just called one day and said, "Oh, by the way, I've decided to break up the band. You guys, last checks were last week."
So how was it going into that movie project, knowing that you were no longer part of Frank's band?
Well, he hired me as an actor, and I wanted to try to get into that too. I didn't mind it. Shit, I still got along with Frank okay.
Yeah. So there was no personal animosity at all?
Nah. No.
Did you remain a fan of his music after the Mothers split?
Not as much.
No?
Not as much. At the time, I didn't. More now, because I play with a band called the Muffin Men.
Yep.
And they do a lot of other stuff. They do a lot of the old Mother stuff, but they also do a lot of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
That I never really listened to tell you the truth. And I like a lot of it a lot.
Probably.
It was very good.
I guess now you've probably become a little bit more familiar with that later material of Frank's through your time with the Muffin Men. Are there any of those later Frank Zappa albums that you wish you could have played on now that you're more familiar with that material?
Not really. I don't really play drum. I don't play drums with the Muffins. I'm not playing drums that much anymore.
You're basically singing with
6 years old, man, and I think I put my time in carrying the drums around. I'm a singer now.
You're a singer now, yeah.
My wife's looking at me. She hates it because she likes to see me play the drums. And she actually helps me carry the drums around when I have to play them.
Got your own roadie.
Yeah, she's good about that. Lovely lady.
Did you know right away what you wanted to do with the next stage of your career after the Mothers disbanded?
No, not really. I started that band Geronimo Black and really enjoyed that. It was a good band.
Mm-hmm.
But it's being resurrected in a little bit different way at the moment.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
It's not. It's not the way. What I mean by being resurrected. It's called Geronimo Black Resurrected.
Okay.
But it's it's me and my three sons.
Oh, that's right. I did hear that. They're all musicians as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Geronimo he's the lead guitar player and the songwriter.
Yep.
And we took his name when he was. We borrowed his name for the band.
Right.
When he was 2 years old. He really didn't have much to say about it. But 2 years ago, he called me and said, "Dad, you know what? I want my name back." I said, "Well, I didn't think you'd ever lost it." No, he said, "But, I want to doing this project and starting the band and with the brothers and all." And I said, I called the guys. The old guys from Geronimo Black, and they were glad to see that. I mean, they said, "Well, it's his name."
Yeah.
We took his name. He certainly can take it back anytime he wants to.
Absolutely. You going to take that on the road, are you?
Yeah, I want to, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, the drummer, my son, the drummer, he's 43 years old. He's visiting me right now he's going to be over here for 3 months. In Germany with me. They recorded about 5 songs. They're getting ready to send them about the first part of July.
Yeah.
And I'll put my vocals on here.
Tremendous.
And then we'll send them back, and then they'll finish all the overdubs and all the rest of the stuff they got to do to it.
That's great.
Then when he goes back, then they'll finish the CD. We're going to try to do a tour in Europe next in February.
Just how
I have to go. I'm going back out on the road in the 1st of April with the Muffins again next year.
Okay, that keeps you pretty busy, doesn't it?
Well, it's not as busy as I'd like to be because the fall tour was canceled, or the winter tour was. Roddy wanted to take we haven't had a winter off in 14 years.
Wow.
I've been with the Muffins for 10 years. So it's okay. They're taking them this off in the fall time, winter time.
Just harking back to the original Geronimo Black in the 70s, did you see that at the time as being a long-term project, or what did you want to achieve with that?
Well, I wanted it to be a long-time project. We all did. But, we got with the record company that the president of the record company, that it was MCA Records, a big company. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks after our album came out, he got fired, and they didn't know what to do with the band. If he hadn't have gotten fired, I think we could have actually made it. I think we could have done very good.
Now, you took a break away from music there at one stage in the 70s. I think you were working in a donut factory.
That was only about 8 months off.
Yeah. Was that a result of really a need by you just to get away from the music industry for a while?
No, I needed a job, man. And my wife at that time she ran the donut shop, and she put me to work.
Uh-huh.
No, to this day, I don't. It's hard for me to eat a donut. after making 25,000 of them every day for over a year.
Yeah, it put you off, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, I don't even like the smell of them. I don't like the look of them. Nothing to do with them.
Now, talk about the Grandmothers. What was the original blueprint for that band?
Well, the original Grandmothers started actually, the first Grandmothers came right after the original Mothers broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Herb Cohen asked us if we wanted to do an LP.
Yep.
And we said, yes, why not? And Tom Wilson was going to produce it.
Yeah.
The original producer from the Mothers. And we went and did one session. I don't even know what song we did. Something. And then Herb said, yeah, well, the album is going to be called Frank Zappa Presents the Grandmothers, and that was it.
Yeah.
Everybody said, no way, because they were still pissed off at Frank firing us. Most of them were anyway. By that time, I didn't really, hey, I understood what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But, that was the beginning of the Grandmothers. Mm-hmm. And then Don Preston, Bunk Gardner, and myself got the band together in 1980. With, the first tour was with the three of us and Tom Fowler and Walt Fowler and Tony Duran. So it was everybody had played with Zappa in one formation or another.
Well,
it was quite an interesting band.
Yeah.
It was a good band.
What was the original intent there? I guess you were very careful not to allow people to stamp you as a Zappa cover band or anything like that?
Well, we weren't a Zappa. We never were a Zappa cover band.
No, not at all.
Well, we were the guys that made that because we were only playing old Mothers of Invention music or original music.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. We weren't playing any, quote unquote covers. If we would have been playing music from, 70s or 80s, it would have been a cover of Zappa stuff. But we were just doing the stuff that we recorded.
What was the initial feedback from old Mothers fans to the band?
From Frank?
Well, from Frank and from the old Mothers of Invention fans.
Oh, the fans liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah, they loved it, man. And Frank, it was okay with Frank until Don brought out he made a doll that looked like Frank, and they started doing some weird stuff to it. And he didn't like that shit at all.
Uh-huh.
And he let us know about it real quick. But it wasn't my idea.
In the 80s, you did some work with Arthur Brown, both in music and away from music.
I painted houses with Arthur for 10 years, but we also made one CD that's a great CD, man. It's called Brown, Black, and Blue.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
How did you first hook up with Arthur? I guess you would have...
Well, I knew Arthur from the 60s, because he played The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, opened up several times for the Mothers of Invention. And so I got to know Arthur in the 60s.
Yep.
And then he was living in Austin when I moved to Austin, Texas, and I hooked up with him through this painter. I got a job, and he said, oh, by the way, Arthur Brown works for me. I said, well, shit, man, I know Arthur. I hadn't seen him for a long time, but I knew him. And about 6 months after we worked with this guy, we started a company called The Gentlemen of Color. And it went for almost 10 years, man.
Yeah. What's Arthur doing these days? Do you stay in touch with him?
He's performing, and he lives in England now again. Yeah. Oh, he's doing great, man. In fact, 3 months ago when we played in Portsmouth in southern part of the UK, he came and sat in with us. He always sits in with the Muffins. He always asks me if he can have a sing with us. James, can I have a sing? Well, of course you can have a sing, Arthur. And he does, too. Guy's incredible, man.
So he's been a great old friend, hasn't he?
I think he's the best singer in the world.
Yeah.
Well, he's certainly and I'm doing a new solo project. Should be doing it by the end of this year. And Arthur's going to sing a couple of songs. We're going to do a couple of duets together.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm looking very much. I don't know what we're going to do, but whatever it's going to be, it should be interesting.
Did you
It's going to be mainly original material.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And I'm doing it with the musicians or the guys from the Muffins.
So how did the Muffin Men and you sort of get together? That, like I said, is taking up a good amount of your time these days, and you've been with them for a long time.
Oh, they're just very dear friends of mine, and they're excellent musicians, man. Why should I go looking for other musicians when I got the best there? And we're used to working with each other. You know, it's not a problem for us.
Did you remain in contact with Frank right up until his passing?
No.
No?
No, I didn't, man. That lawsuit that we brought against him, it kind of, you know, it stopped all that, man. It didn't want anything to do with, and it was just strictly business. All we wanted was our royalties.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we never got.
Is that a regret now? You didn't get that last chance to speak to him before he went?
Well, I tried to, but his wife wouldn't let me. I think Frank might have done it, but I never even got that far.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past her. And she's something else, believe me. She's a piece of work. I've known her for a long time.
Onto a more pleasant subject. You have
not necessarily.
You have a small record label of your own now, and you've got quite an operation happening there.
Oh man, I don't have any money, man. I can't promote anything. I just got all my stuff archived. If people are interested in buying my stuff, maybe when I die it'll do better.
Yeah.
But it's all good music. I have about 42 CDs out.
Yeah.
All stuff I've done. Oh yeah, my wife said to tell you that I do also sculpture and soapstone sculptures as well.
Oh, fantastic! Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I just started doing that about 7 or 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I enjoy it. I haven't done any in a while. But I've got about 200 of them sitting around my house.
Yeah.
I'd like to sell them is what I'd like to do with them instead of looking at them.
You find it helps your music, though, having another creative outlet like that?
Well, it probably does. I think it does, but more of my creative thing now is with the computer. I didn't know how to even turn a computer on 4 years ago. Now I design album covers and shit. My album covers I design and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose somebody asked me to do an album cover. Well, I have done for people.
What about?
I have actually, created album covers for people.
Speaking of computers, your website, are you involved in the construction of that?
No, my stepson's father built that.
Okay.
Very, very dear friend of mine from Germany here, from Munich. That's his first website that he built.
Okay.
I think he did a pretty good job.
Of course, people can go online there and purchase all your recordings and all your product
They
there.
can. And I do okay. I sell quite a few I'm not getting rich off of it, but I sell a few. It's hard to make any money, especially from the States, because the euro is so strong against the dollar now.
Yeah. But just the same, it must be great to have that great variety of your product out there and out and about.
Well, it's available for people. I have a lot of grandmother's products, but I have also a lot, I play a lot of blues. I have over the years. Mm-hmm. And rock and roll and stuff like that. And I've got all different kinds of music. I used to play in a gospel group, black gospel group. great music, man, called Junior Franklin and the Golden Echoes.
Okay.
Oh, it was wonderful music, man. It was rhythm and blues with they were just singing about Jesus. It's all, it's okay.
Away from your work with
I don't have anything against Jesus. I think he's probably a pretty cool guy.
Away from the Mothers, what would be your proudest musical moment?
With the Mothers?
Away from the Mothers, what would you...
Oh, Away from the Mothers. Well, I played with Captain Beefheart for one tour.
Ah, yes.
And I played the Networth Pop Festival in 1975, and there was about 300,000 people there. That was a pretty exciting... I've never played for that many people before, and I never have since.
Yeah. A memorable moment.
Yeah, it was, man.
Just to finish up, Jimmy...
Just gigs, lots of every tour, there's memorable times in every tour. I had a great time on this last tour with the Muffins. It was beautiful, man. It was a good tour.
So overall, is touring still an enjoyable part of your life as a musician?
No, I really get kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a weak case of leukemia, man, and it really, takes a lot of energy from me, man. So, and I'm 66 years old, and I get tired, man.
Yeah.
After 6 or 7 weeks, that's too long for me. I don't like to be away from my wife that long.
The playing music is okay. It's the traveling side of it, is it?
It's the traveling mainly. The music's okay, man. I only have to sing for about 45 minutes a night, man. Do that standing on my head. That's easy, but it's just the traveling.
Yeah.
In a bus with a bunch of wankers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Liverpudlians besides.
Hey, Jimmy, look, it's been terrific catching up with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Well, you're sure welcome. It was a great interview.
Thanks for all the...
Thanks a lot, and keep in contact with me, John.
Will do, yeah.
Oh, I would appreciate that, man.
That'll be great, and hopefully we can perhaps get you to summon up the energy to get down here to Australia. We'd love to see you play for us down here.
Well, I'd like to play and all. I've never played there. I would love to.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these bands that I get going will have enough of a hit to where we can come over there. It would be nice, man.
Be great. Even if we get the Muffin Men down here, that'd be terrific.
Oh, it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, John. Thanks a
Jimmy.
lot.
You take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.